What's up, guys? It is your girl Sarah from Sarah Styles here. Welcome to Wednesday What Sold. Today I have Chris from Daily Refinement on for my monthly meeting with him on our mentorship. So we're going to kind of go over, check in. I haven't really talked to him in a month, more or less. So check in with Chris a little bit and then go over my July numbers and kind of make some strategies for August. So if you like content like that, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give me a like on your way out. While we wait for other people to come on, what's up, Chris? How have you been?
Life's been awesome. It's been very quiet, and I'm just looking to maybe put up an ad to get somebody else to come help me soon. And just thinking about the protocol of wearing some PPE while working together, because I do work out of a store unit. So I'm trying to decide the safest way to do it, and I think I'm gonna do 2 days a week to start off with and see how that goes.
So to help you, because most of what you do out of the storage unit is like shipping and stuff, right? So having someone come help with that, or what task would they be doing?
The shipping I can still do because that's pretty streamlined, but the photographing, processing, if I start buying bulk lots again, which I might start doing, I'm looking at just 2 to 5 Gaylords a week, and I would need help processing that. So
Yeah.
because I have the space to do it, so I figure might as well do it.
I was under the impression that you had people that were taking pictures for you.
I
Am I
do on
wrong?
the East Coast.
Oh, okay, but not here. So you're trying to get people
On
here.
that location, but I was thinking this location may be added in. Ideally, to be perfectly honest, I want to get it to the point where there's enough volume going that the people who list could also ship for me. Because, right now, I'm just deciding. I was processing around 600 items a week here, pre C19. So now it's been a while, and I'm just deciding, what do I want to do? Because the space is expensive. So I either need to go
That's
for it
expensive.
or, think about what I want to do with it.
So you have more room for it. Are you seeing comments? We're live, right?
Yeah, we're live. There's comments
Okay. Oh, they're not, I don't see them on StreamYard or on YouTube. You're seeing them.
on YouTube.
Oh, I don't see them on
I see him
StreamYard.
on here too in the comments section on the second tab.
I'm not seeing them. Sorry guys. Yeah, I'm not seeing them at all. All right. Well, hopefully hopefully it comes on if you want to monitor those. I don't see them. I'm on the comments. You're usually better about that anyway, but I'm on the comments tab and I don't see anything. It's weird.
Duncan is saying that during this quiet time, everyone should be listing towards Q4. I agree. I had an awesome summer, and awesome Q2 and Q3 were pretty good for me because I had an insane Q1 and Q4 last year. I listed heavy, so but now it's sort of like taking 6 months off. That means I'm gonna have a slow Q3 and Q4 if I don't get my button gear.
Listing. Well, so it's interesting that you said that, because this whole month I heard in the back of my head when I was having a rough day or I wasn't making the sales I thought I should be making, that like managed payments was happening. It's summer slowdown. Just keep with listing so that you're prepared for Q3 and Q4. But I'm wondering, I was talking about this with someone else about Q4. My last Q4 was not anything to write home about, but I do mostly clothing. I do all clothing, shoes, and purses, and mostly used. And so is it more if you're in other fields of that stuff that you're selling and more new with tags and maybe like electronics and toys in Q4?
Yeah, I mean, certain gifts, like for example, jeans, the top month for jeans is August.
Yeah.
Because of back to school. But this year, since there's no back to school, then it's going to be an odd situation. People aren't buying new clothes for school right now. They're buying pajamas. Pajamas are selling really well right now.
So yeah, and athletic wear. I've been selling good athletic wear because you're home, kind of cozy. So on that note, with COVID and everything that's going on, let's check in quickly on, since the last time we've talked, cases are not. Most states, the cases are going up. Schools some are opening, some aren't opening. There's lots of uncertainty there. The extra benefit of the unemployment has ended, and there still hasn't been a new stimulus coming out. They're kind of on the cusp of that. So how do you see all of that kind of impacting going into, and like you said, back to school? Usually right now is when we're seeing kind of a ramp up, but people aren't going back to school and you're not going to see, like, how do you see that impacting reselling, and kind of what strategies are you doing right now?
I think right now what I am doing is I'm slightly changing my model to cheaper stuff
Mhm.
because people are going to have less money. You're going to be going for more quality things. So I think right now is also a great time to get liquidation because retail stores are suffering. They're not doing as well. So there's going to be, I would say, this Q3 and Q4, people didn't know this was going to happen. So they placed massive orders Q1, it shut down, and then now all this stuff's going to be liquidated. So what that means is an item that would normally sell for $30 or $40 in November, December, maybe is not going to sell as well in person. I'm not sure people are going to be waiting in line on Black Friday
Mm-mm.
and
Not the way that it normally is. There's no way. You can't do the 6 feet apart the way that it is. There's no
yeah,
way.
and they're not going to let people run into the store one at a time either. There's got to be a way to moderate it. But I'm assuming people are going to be staying at home, spending less money. So I'm going to be opting more for volume at cheaper pricing. That's my initial thought with this
Yeah.
type. That's why I was thinking about ramping up
That's
out
yeah,
here.
that's kind of where I've gone in general since this started, because I used to be like a high average sale price seller, purses, shoes, boots and stuff, and I kind of went closer to the $15-$20 range, but then it is a volume, right? Like you have to find processes to be able to list double amount in the same amount of time, right? If you want to make the same amount of money. So we'll get into the liquidation in a little bit because I do want to touch base on that. That's kind of been in the back of my head as well. Managed payments, touch base real quick on that for eBay. Managed payments was rolling out for most people in July into August. I'm supposed to go live with it next week. Is there any updates? Have you heard about any? I mean, a lot of times when they go through a big overhaul on a system, there can be kind of hiccups or anything. I haven't noticed anything, but you're much more in touch with eBay. So have you any news on that or any updates on managed payments?
Management should begin for me on Friday. So the 7th, I've done some homework with it. It's not going to be that big of a deal. I was worried a little bit about charity payments because I want to do more eBay for charity, and that wasn't working with managed payments, but it is already. So
Oh,
that is
nice.
now up and going. There are certain categories that are restricted that eventually all of them will be unrestricted. There's just certain parameters while they're debugging. Of course, it doesn't make sense for eBay to not quickly resolve that as soon as possible. So I think it's just like any change with eBay. It doesn't really matter. I think people are wasting so much time thinking about this when the amount of inventory you have listed and your pricing strategy, these are way more important. You don't need a separate bank account. You don't need to do anything different. You can set it up so that it withdraws daily, weekly, monthly, however you want. I mean, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
think it's daily, weekly, or bi-weekly.
Well,
But
and if you sell on any other platform, it's just going, like Etsy is that way, Poshmark, like all of the other platforms are
Amazon.
this way. So
Hmm.
it's not, I mean, eBay's like catching up. I don't think it should be. But my point was just when there's something like Poshmark did some system changes this month, and there was kind of some hiccups going on, lots of rumors happening in the Poshmark world and sales and stuff. So I didn't know if you had heard anything about eBay and if sales were down, because there's, sometimes when there's a system overload, there's hiccups there. But it seems like everything's going smoothly and it shouldn't be an issue.
And it should be okay for them to be doing it right now because there's a little bit of a lull. So this is the advice I want to give it to everyone, which is like just have a 10-year outlook. And then all these crazy
Yeah.
videos and things just don't bother you because over the course of 10 years, these are all tiny things that are going to happen. You're not even going to remember them next year unless you
Yeah.
pay attention to the drama.
That's what I'm telling myself with the pandemic. I'm like, eventually, this is not either this is going to be our new normal and it won't be as crazy,
Mhm.
or it'll just be like, oh, do you remember that time when, that's what I have to tell myself daily with the kid situation. I do have a question too. I was looking at so eBay was doing 50,000, yes, 50,000 free listings. And I read that it had ended in July. And then I looked on August and it looked like it had ended. And so I upgraded my subscription because now I don't have all those free listings. But then I was looking on my eBay today and it still showed 50,000 free listings. So I don't know if that was maybe a glitch on my end, or if if they had ended or.
So let me look at the free listings. I don't understand what the you walk me through. Why does free listings entice you?
Well, it enticed me to move all of my inventory over because I was at the very bottom listing or store, and so I only had like 100. So I only had like 100 of my items on eBay. And so then I moved all of, when they first did free listings, I moved all of my inventory over because I didn't have to pay for them, right? And then I moved to the basic store, which was like 250 listings a month. And I didn't have to go up to the $74 store because I had 50,000 free listings. So it's not a huge enticement, but it was saving me $50 a month because I didn't have to go up to the next store.
For those 100 listings?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 500?
Yes, right. I mean, there's other benefits too, but for the most part, I think it's not make or break you because what do you pay for a listing, right? It's not huge dollar amounts, but right now it was helpful.
Because I hear people saying, I'm saving my items for the next promotion. And I'm like, what would be the reason to not list them right now for 10 cents? Like, it doesn't seem to me like.
Yeah. No, I wasn't doing it from that perspective. I wasn't listing onto eBay pre-COVID because of time. And then I didn't have any inventory. And I was like, well, what's stopping me? Here's the time now. But then I didn't upgrade because we had the 50,000. Like I would have upgraded regardless, but we had the 50,000 free. So I was like, well, there's no point in me upgrading if I have the 50,000, right?
Yeah, that's
but
right.
it's not stopping me. It's not holding me back. I just didn't know. I saw them in my eBay today and I thought that it ended. So I don't know if you knew if it ended or...
Mine doesn't have that, but I think that might be because my Anchor Store subscription is... Oh no, actually it says that I have 75,000 extra. You have 50?
Yeah.
So they must have extended it.
So I upgraded my store. Oh, well. But now I get more features because there's a couple of features like the automatic feedback and stuff that I was having to manually do. So it is what it is. Now I'm getting comments, but it's like the comments from the beginning. So we'll see if those upgrade. Okay, so one more thing, and then we'll get into my July and then talk about strategies for August. These are just questions that I've had that you can answer very quickly and easily with your expertise.
Sure.
Stale inventory. I kind of have an idea of what you're going to say, but I want to hear your aspect on stale inventory. Do you ever go in and say, hey, this has been sitting for so long, I want to get rid of it? If you do, what is kind of your process in that? And if you don't, why don't you?
So I think it depends. So this is my answer. My store is kind of a clear store to begin with, because most of my stuff is 20 to 30% below MSRP, maybe even deeper discount than that. It's already on sale. And because in theory, you're getting a larger audience online than you would in person, what I'm doing is just experimenting with increasing the promoted listings rate on aged items versus discounting them, because I'm having great success with that. Although it is not what I would like to do. I would like to just offer a little bit of a discount and maybe keep my store active and the cash flow moving. But as an example, older items I'm promoting like up to 7% instead of discounting it 7%.
Right. So it's a safe bottom line, but you're just getting more traffic from promoting it. But do you ever like get rid of items? You're like, I've had this for 3 years, it's not selling, or are you in the camp of everything eventually will sell?
Everything eventually will sell. I'm in that camp.
Yeah, I figured that's what you were going to say. And I'm kind of on the fine line. I also am space-wise kind of getting full. So I'm wondering if it would be good to get rid of some older things that, even if they eventually would sell, probably wouldn't sell as good, so that I can bring in new inventory. I'm kind of trying to figure out what to do there, but I wanted to see your perspective. So let's get into my July numbers. Let me share my screen with you. That's eBay, but we'll start with... and so I can't see the comments now too, although they're still like 15 minutes old. So if you can help monitor those, I'd appreciate it. So
no problem.
This is, for those who are new to my channel, this is the Sarah Style Sales and Trends Dashboard. It is for sale on Etsy or www.sarahstyle.com. sarahsalesllc.com. This is for all platforms that I sell on. You have to manage your own data and put it in here, but then you get all these cool metrics as well. So quickly, we'll look at the performance. This is going to be a couple days outdated from July because we're 5 days into August. It's 28 days compared to the previous 28 days. I'm a higher gross revenue, but I'm selling less items. I'm listing less items, and we'll get into that in a minute, but my average sale price is increasing. So, I mean, it is fairly normal when you get a higher average sale price to kind of see less items selling and a lower sell-through rate. But I also am feeling like as July and into August goes on, things are kind of declining as far as velocity goes. Just in general, mostly I've had quite a few people this week tell me, I only have this much money left for my unemployment check. Can you give me this deal? Can you? So I think like the money is getting a lot tighter for people right now. I'm noticing. So that makes sense that that's going down, but my gross revenue is going up. So at the end of the day, that's what I care about. I'm doing less shipping and making more money. And you can stop me at any point if you need to too. So July, $66,660. What a odd number to end on, but that was my July growth. We're talking gross revenue here. 174 items sold. Average sale price is $38. So my average sale price has come back up. If you remember when we started in May, I was giving a lot of stuff away for free basically on eBay just to get the velocity to come up. And so that average sale price really decreased. I think that's about all I want to say there. My average listed items, for the month of July, I was listing 70 items a month. That's 270 items a week. 70 items a week. I have a lister who does it, and then I would do 10 drafts a day. So that number is a little inflated just because it's based off of when my lister put it into the spreadsheet, not necessarily when I actually made it go live on eBay. I did want to touch base. I did increase this gross revenue to $8,000 because as we're trying to get to a net number, right? And as I'm increasing my velocity and I'm paying a lister and I'm having to increase some other things, I'm spending a little bit more. My expenses have also increased. So I recalculated everything and kind of gave it just a 50%. Half of my gross is what I will be netting out given various different factors. So I did increase that to 8,000. We good?
We're good.
Okay. So categories, one of my top categories, which is interesting, is electronics. I have my brother-in-law I think I had mentioned this in the last time we were testing out a consignment deal. He's been on eBay for 12 years, but he didn't want to deal with it right now, but he still likes the shopping. So he's been giving me some items to consign. He does electronics. And this is why people like electronics. My average sale price for it is $75 at a 66% sell-through rate. So I'm learning through him. I may venture outside of clothes and shoes. I don't love it. I don't love listing it or taking pictures or shipping it, but I do love those numbers. So we'll see how that goes. And that's the other thing too. We'll come down here and see my sourcing. So he's the consignment guy down here. Average sale price is definitely high. He is what is driving a lot of those sales for the month. I think it was like a third of my sales for the month were his inventory, but it's a 50-50 split, right? So I'm getting more gross revenue, but now my net's less than it would have been because I'm splitting it 50-50. So just something to keep in mind. eBay is now my main platform. $4,500 gross revenue, but $4,500 on eBay compared to this $2,000 on Poshmark. So I think I finally made it with your help and definitely Duncan's help, made it to where I am getting those sales on eBay, and I actually am preferring eBay now because it definitely is less work. The list it and forget, I'm feeling confident with that now. I don't have to go on like on Poshmark and share and do all of that stuff. I still do it on Poshmark, but I spend far less time on eBay, and now I'm making more sales on eBay. So it's a great place for me to be going into August and into the fall with the kids at home because I don't have to spend as much time, right? So I think we've set this up pretty well on eBay.
I have to share that I have not shared my closet in 45 days. and I still did $3,000 in sales with not sharing one time in July. So
That's wild. But
every
also
single,
how,
go ahead,
oh, I mean, how many items do you have too? Because that plays
on
into it.
Posh, maybe 1,000. But um, what was exciting was not exciting, but interesting is people will say, "Hey, do you still have this?" Because I haven't been active in a month and a half on sharing. So
Yeah.
once I confirm I'm still alive, then they still buy it. So
Well,
it's
that's
not.
interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know. I mean, that's interesting, but I'm going to say for those following in on Poshmark, that is not the typical. You
No,
have to share your
I'm gonna go
closet.
I'm gonna go back to sharing my closet. I just think it's funny that I mean the differences between I think I've done 7 to 10,000 every month on Poshmark when sharing, right? So
Yeah, right. So it does
it's a
decrease.
huge difference, less than half by not
Yeah,
sharing at
right.
all.
But that's wild. Like, I wonder, I'm not going to not share because that would just, like, I'd probably make no sales. But that's wild that you still made that many sales without sharing in that
Hmm.
long.
I had one
Um,
10-day sale or 10 sale day and I couldn't believe it. And I don't know if there's more to it than just shared. I don't know.
They did. Well, so the thing is, and this is part of what happened in July, they have changed the filters a little bit to, so there was just shared and just listed, but now there's like a relevancy tab. And I know we've talked about this. So, like, when you're searching, they're making it a little bit easier to get what you're searching for, not necessarily what was just listed. So that could have played in your favor as well, too, right? Because you obviously know what you're doing in your SEOs and your picture, right? So that could have played into your favor as well. I think that's what I wanted to touch on here. Yes. So as far, let me get rid of this. As far as eBay goes, I did work on, oh, I got rid of you. Sorry. There we go. Let's do that. As far as eBay goes, I worked on getting rid of free shipping. So all of my items, let me see. The only items that have free shipping right now are if they're under a pound and over $40. Everything else is a flat rate shipping, give or take what it would cost. And my velocity kept there, right? So my eBay sales, I did 120 sales on eBay this month and I did 65. So it's doubled with getting rid of free shipping. So that was the only thing I changed this month because I wanted to see how that would play out. I'm considering messing with, because I still do promoted listings. So I'm considering messing with promoted listings this next month. But also my time commitment is going to be significantly less. So I don't know if I want to go down that path or not. It's kind of where I think that's it. Oh, and my shipping. So I have, with a lot of your tricks, I have significantly decreased my shipping times, which has been very helpful. I don't loathe shipping anymore. So
What is it about shipping that you don't like?
I was never like overly organized. So then I would spend at least one time shipping. I'd be like, oh my God, I lost this. Where did I put this? Where did I? And now everything, I've been very consistent in my process of putting numbers and SKUs. Before I just wasn't as organized. It was like 75% organized, but then the other 25% always caught me up. And the bulk edit or the bulk shipping labels help too, because before I was doing it one by one, and so then that was taking a while. So doing the bulk shipping and then having all of my inventory where I can just pull out a number and not freak out about where an item is has helped.
Can you do some homework for me?
Sure.
I would like you to time how long it takes you to ship 5 or 10 items, one of those. Um, because I just did that yesterday. Um, I've been listing lately because I have been talking to a lot of moms. Okay, so I was
Mm-hmm.
just talking to this lady yesterday who has 3 kids. All 3 of her kids are 1 year younger than your kids. So I was like, wow, you're Sarah Styles a year ago. And
Yeah,
I
and it's
was
wild.
looking,
A year ago, it's hard. 2-year-olds are hard. A 3-year
right.
old he'll at least play by himself a little bit. Yeah.
So I was looking at her day, and that's why I was texting you because I was talking to her. And so I'm like, okay, let me just do this because I usually don't list my own items. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna see what it looks like because you told me it's her fragmented. she doesn't have, like me, I have 16 hours to work. She doesn't, she's interrupted all the time, right? So I'm like,
Oh
okay,
yes,
let's
and
see
those
how long it
hours
takes.
that you have, yeah, the hours that you have are like significantly, because most 95% of my workday is with children.
That's right.
So it
So
takes
I
you.
was like, okay, let me see what these tasks, how long it takes me. So a lot of parents do all photos at one time,
Mhm.
and then they, when they can, they list here or there, do things, right? So I was thinking, okay, there has to be a period of time where there's at least a solid hour. Okay, it's probably when your family is asleep. So all I'm saying is 1 hour per week. Okay, so during that 1 hour, I think it's possible if you have everything up to do 20 items photographed.
50.
That's 20.
Oh, I was like 50 in an hour.
No,
Yeah,
20.
yeah,
So
yes,
so
that's
20 an
manageable.
hour. So
Yeah.
my first try, I did 10 clothing items and 7 shoes in an hour. So 17. So I was like, okay, with some practice, I could maybe speed it up a little bit because I haven't done it in a while. And I was thinking, okay, now with this armed, right? I have it, I have the pictures now. Now I'm gonna try and between things, see what I can do. And I figured it takes me maybe 4 minutes to do a listing, in a sense, like to get it ready for a VA, right? If you were to use like Hammock or Cellhound or something else, or you have
Yeah,
help, 4 minutes to kind of put it together for that if you're doing only a few at a time. Obviously, when you have long periods of time, you get more efficient,
more
but
efficient.
just
Right.
here or there, 4 minutes. Or if I list it all the way through myself, on the high end, it's around 7 minutes. So what I was trying to do is figure out how could a stay-at-home parent knock out 50 listings a week and
All by themselves.
all by themselves. And I came to the conclusion that I think I could do it in 3 hours a week with help and 10
Yeah.
hours a week by myself. So I was telling this lady,
But sourcing, because my other issue is
no,
sourcing.
I'm
That's not
sorry,
including.
not including sourcing, just the
Yes, because that's
processing
the
and shipping part. That's the other
right.
part. So I said to this lady, okay, this is great because the first time she did it, in 57 minutes, she did like 4. So her first attempt was like 14 or 15 minutes a piece. It was like twice or 3 times as long as how long it takes me to do it. But I'm like, this is awesome because now, a year from now, when you're Sarah Styles at a year from now, all your
You'll
time
have
will
to
shrink.
connect us. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll connect you. All
If
these,
she wants to. Yeah.
yeah, all these times shrink, and things get more efficient, including the sourcing. And she knows about Charlotte Mason homeschooling, or I don't know what that is. Have you heard of this? There's some
No.
kind of homeschooling system that comes with all these manuals and systems and books and such. Anyway, it just opened my eyes to there's a lot of different things people can sell. And when you start getting the fundamentals set up, you have a good photo set up, a good shipping system. If it takes you a year or two to figure that out, that's okay because now you have the ability to run an awesome side hustle. You, Sarah, you try to learn the fundamentals of everything that you do, and that's very rare. You're impatient, but at least you get that it takes a while to get there.
Yes, I have high expectations. That's part of what, so the second half of this conversation, and we're kind of getting there right now. I mean, because I've talked about this a little bit. So our situation, I'm a stay-at-home mom if you're new here. And so I do this kind of side. Right now I'm doing roughly 30 to 35 hours with children. So like this morning I took about 30 pictures, but my kids were playing and then I was interrupted and then I had to go clean up their food. And, so, but I can do that. But come in 2 weeks, I have 3 kids, their schools will be remote learning for the first 2 weeks. And then we have to decide whether we want them at home or hybrid, which will be 2 days a week in school, 2 days a week at home. So I essentially am becoming a teacher. They have the curriculum from the school, but I have a kindergartner. She cannot teach herself. She can hardly navigate on a computer, let alone sit there and teach herself. And then my oldest is special needs. So he cannot teach himself either. I can't teach him either because I'm not a special needs teacher, but I can a little bit better than he can. So essentially I'm going from 35 hours kid time to 0. So I'm trying to figure out how to manage that. But back to your first question, I have recently timed myself shipping because I felt like I was getting faster. eBay, because you can do bulk shipping, I can do, it was like 3 minutes an item. I can do start to finish, 3 minutes an item. And then Poshmark, it's like 4-ish minutes an item because you have to do one by one. For shipping, for taking pictures without interruptions, I can do, it's like 2.5 minutes a picture. So a picture and then in my inventory and on to the next one is 2.5 minutes. So I feel like I'm pretty efficient with that. I mean, there's probably some ways to make it quicker, but I feel like that's pretty efficient. And then the pictures get sent
Sorry, I
to
was distracted.
my
How long
VA.
does that take?
Oh yeah. So shipping, I'm at under 3 minutes, roughly about 2.5 minutes for eBay, because you can do multiple listings at a time. Poshmark, you have to go in one by one, and it's more like 4 minutes. But I'm shipping like 6 to 10 items a day. So it's really only, maybe a half hour of my day. And that's something the kids usually help me with. Like my 3-year-old loves to put the stickers. So that when they help, it takes a little bit more time, but that's something that I can still manage to do with them, right? That's not something I need to do kid free.
On Poshmark, it's 2.5 minutes per sale.
Like 4 minutes, because you have to clear, like I have to go into, I don't check any boxes on Poshmark.
Okay, so
but you have to go into each. Yeah, so on Poshmark, you have to go into each listing, open the for sale, download the shipping label, open the shipping label, hit print, and then it prints out. Where on eBay,
you not open up all the sales in different tabs?
I could. Yeah, I could do that. That would probably speed it up. They are supposed to be coming out with bulk shipping, I heard.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I wrote a macro to do that for me.
Well, I don't have time to write a macro. If you'd like to share it with me.
I will. So essentially this is great because this is like my favorite thing to talk about. When I sell items on Poshmark, I open up the My Sales tab, right? So that is, I think, let me pull it up. It's Poshmark.com/order/sales. I'm going to put that in the chat for everyone.
Will you share your screen, or I can? I just like people to visually be able to see it too.
No, I don't need to. So this is the link. So Poshmark.com/order/sales. I go to this page first, then I hold down the control or command button and open all the sales in their own window. Right?
And then you print it from there.
So then I print it. And the way I do it is I do check all 3 boxes to let the buyer know it's on its way. I download the label. I open the label in a new window. I print the label. I close the tab. Before I ship, I line up all my packages so that they're in order on the My Sales page. So then I print the label, put the label on. Then I go to my computer and I delete the label. Because I wasn't doing that. And I had thousands of these labels clogging up my...
Yeah.
I wish there was a way to print it without downloading it. I don't want to download it. So then this is about 16 steps. It's like click, click. And then so that's what... For those of you wondering what a macro is, you show the computer the 16 steps and then the computer does it. So what happens is while it's doing that, I can print all 10 at the same time and I can go do something else while I'm waiting for it to do that.
See, and here's my problem is I could probably easily, I could do, like I have the skill set to do that, but then it's like one more thing on my list of time that I don't have. I'm writing it down because it's a great idea. And maybe maybe I just do it and then it saves time on the other end, right? Because I have an Apple. So if you guys have an Apple writes macros for you. Like you just record it and it does it for you. Like you don't even have to be smart enough to know how to code it.
Yeah.
And so I could easily, I'm going to write that down and see if I can, because that would be helpful.
Well, here's the thing. You don't really need to write a macro because it doesn't take that long. It's just writing down the steps. You have it right next to you. Hold on. Let me show you. Okay, so even though I've been doing this for 3 years, I have all the steps for shipping written down. Okay, so eBay shipping checklist, right? So this is right next to my printer and in this book. So it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. It's easier when you're just reading a list.
Yeah.
This is why I'm excited to try how I did and try to make this list, see if it works. It's gonna work. You'd be like, you know what? You're doing exactly what I thought you were going to be doing. That's what I'm hoping. So I don't know if it works that way.
Yeah, we'll see. The other thing with a list that would be helpful is I am constantly interrupted by someone who is yelling and screaming. And like my shipping today was my 3 and 5-year-old wanted to come down and help, which essentially was them fighting and screaming, Mom, they're not doing this. Mom, they're not doing that. And so then I'm stopped and then I'm like, oh, well, where was I? And right. So having a list could be helpful for that. But shipping is something with limited time. Shipping is something that would be completely manageable. Even I used to do it when the kids went to bed, and I don't mind it. Especially now, I won't mind it. So shipping, I still think I can do daily and keep up daily, even with them in school. Because my husband's working from home too, so he's home early and also during lunch. So I've been going down during lunch and doing shipping. My thoughts are moving forward. So I'm going from like 35 hours a week to essentially I get 2 kid free in the evening. And I don't want to say get. I could work every evening and weekend if I wanted to. My husband is a sufficient parent that would be fine. I don't want to. Like, I don't want to not see my family, right? So I do 2 lives every week on YouTube, so an hour in those evenings, and then every Saturday morning I work for about 4 or 5 hours. So that's essentially what I'm going from 30 to 35 hours to essentially 4 hours on the weekend.
Oh my
so I'm trying.
God.
I know. So what I've tried. So let me tell you where I'm at and what my thoughts are, and then I'd like to hear what you think would. So I was doing 70 items on eBay a week. I've scaled that back down to 50 so that I can get ahead on photos. So I can still maintain 50 a week. So I'm doing 7, it's 49 a week, but 7 a day. But now I'm able to get ahead. I'm about 2.5 weeks ahead on photos. So that when I'm limited in time, I still have photos to do. And I'm trying to crank out as many photos as I can right now so that I can still continue to list. So I've kind of scaled back how many I'm listing so that I can get ahead. And then as far as sourcing goes too, that means I'm having to source 80 less items a month because getting that many items sourcing is something that's time consuming as well. Normally I spend my weekends sourcing or doing YouTube. And so I've been cranking out the sourcing and going thrifting as often as I can. My brother-in-law is bringing me stuff. I've worked with some pickers and it's not great. I mean, it's coming to me and at a reasonable price, but nothing's selling fantastic. So I almost feel like it's not worth my time. What was the other thing I was going to say? So I'm getting ahead on pictures. I've been looking
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do you feel like it will sell eventually, or how do you feel about that inventory?
I mean, I feel like in the mindset of everything sells eventually, yes. It's probably 90% of stuff I wouldn't normally pick up. But it came to me and it was a reasonable cost of goods and it allowed me to have things to list. And I want to build those relationships, right? So like I've been kind of just going with it and seeing, but it hasn't turned into, I think I've sold 2 items this month from them.
What's your eBay store? I'll look at it while we're chatting.
Yeah, Sarah Styles LLC.
That's so easy to remember.
It's everywhere. Sarah Styles LLC everywhere. That's why I have the LLC, because
no one else. I don't know why I asked. I do the same thing, but then okay, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, it's okay. It's a conversation.
Is some of this stuff listed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of it is recent. I'd have to look. I can bring it up on mine too, so we can look. So other people can look.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Most of it, I think, is what's recently. I don't remember what I've been listing recently. So I'm trying to get ahead with pictures. So when I have no time, I still have inventory to list. I've been looking at doing a liquidation palette, so that I don't have to source. And then when I do have time, I can go out into the garage and because it still takes time with liquidation, right? Like I still have to go through and organize it and, figure it out, but it's at my house instead of having to go somewhere to source. So I can do it, in the evening or when the kids go to bed or whatever, where I can't go to thrift stores at those times. I haven't pulled the trigger on a liquidation palette yet, but I'm in the process. That's kind of where I'm hoping by the time I talk to you next, I might have a liquidation palette. I think there was one other thing. I've considered moving. Now I feel like I've gotten eBay pretty down. I've considered moving stuff over to Mercari because I don't have, I would have my lister move it over to Mercari, and that takes no time for me, but then hopefully get a few more sales over there with inventory that I already have. So work on increasing my sell-through rate without having to list or source more, right?
This is yes, if you're unsatisfied with your sell-through rate, then yes.
I'm fine with it now, but that's working 30 hours a week. I'm fully intending it to go down as I work less.
Are
right?
you going to, okay, let's talk about this. Sorry to go out of order.
No, go ahead.
As you potentially have to take on the burden of homeschooling, are you okay mentally with just delaying your business for a few months? I know it's sad, but because it's just realistic.
Mentally, yes, I've had to be mourning. I cannot be in growth mode. I don't intend to be making the sales that I've made this past months. I'm in the mode of I want to try and maintain it as much as I can so that when I am ready to pick it back up, I'm not starting from zero, right? So if I can still continue, because I'm still going to have some time, if I can still continue to do something with that time and make the most of that time. And we've talked about this before, part of my business is my own fulfillment. And so if I give it up completely, I'll be a hot mess, right? So I still want to do some things, but I fully intend to not be at the point, it is going to go down. There's no way I can maintain where I'm at now working, a sixth of the hours. Did that answer your question?
It does.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out where can I get the biggest bang for my buck, right? How can I continue this path in the less time?
Yeah, and I think that what you have right now is a beautiful thing. And this is what I couldn't really put my finger on it, but what you're doing is you're essentially creating cash flow for yourself while you work on replenishables. You're building your brand, Sarah Styles LLC, which I think is it's not my favorite because Sarah Styles is already taken, but being Sarah Styles LLC elevates you to you're clearly a business, right? Because that's something. So I like that concept. But you're doing what I think everyone should be doing right now, which is build a side hustle, do it the best you can. But honestly, if I'm looking at this 10-year outlook, the Sarah Styles brand is worth more than your resale business. So
I would agree.
As long as you can, your resale business is going to dip up and down based on your time. But if you keep putting out content, keep building your brand, it's going to be awesome.
Well, and so that was one of the questions that I had too, is should I scale back reselling even more and continue? If I get these 4 hours on a Saturday, do I spend them reselling or do I spend them on YouTube? Right? Because right now I'm doing the lives. That's fine. But that's 2 a week. It's not, I was doing, 4 or 5 a week, which is the brand. But you don't get paid for that right now, right? That's the long-term outlook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as an example, on YouTube, from my experience, you can safely, if you do a good job of building your audience and you don't cheat, if you're not buying followers and likes and stuff like that, and you're just doing it organically, you can count on 14% of your followers watching a video. So you can base your numbers based on that. And it's interesting. Over time, that becomes more valuable. So in the beginning, it doesn't really make sense to charge people or alienate your audience with too many advertisements, which I have accidentally done. You have as well. Make sure you go in there and moderate how many ads are in there. Try to do maximum one every 10 minutes.
I've actually, because we've had this conversation before, as you're growing, I have actually gone in and you have to remember to change it after live. So I don't always remember to, but and done one just at the beginning. And I don't even do it in the middle because I'm not trying to, like, what am I going to make? 50 cents on that video? Like, it's not worth it. So we had that conversation. I've definitely scaled back on the ads.
So that being said, the large, it's like you wait till you have a large following, then you can kind of cash in. The audience building is the part that takes a while. So I recommend this for everybody who's listening right now. First, smash the like button if you haven't already. And then otherwise, you need to think about building something over time, a store, a relationship, you know. So this is important to get long-term. You know, I didn't know this when I first started. When I first started, I was just trying to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
But then I realized right away that people who make a quick buck stay in that mode forever. People who build brands and relationships, that takes such a long time, it compounds. It's huge.
Right. And my dashboard and eventually YouTube, there's no upfront cost for it, right? Like, I've already made the dashboard and it was my time, but I don't have to pay expenses. I don't have to pay VA. I don't, like, now that I have those out there, they're just making money right? So like that's where, had the kids been in school, I would have absolutely dove more into that and focused more on that when I had more time. But now I'm like, well, if I focus on that, my reselling goes down the crapper. I have no cash flow. And then also, how relatable and expertise do I look when I'm like, look at me, I'm a reseller, but I didn't make any sales this month, right? Like, I still need to maintain that a little bit.
Oh, all right. Well, I realized that I think I've been posting links, but I might not be allowed to post links, so maybe people aren't getting them. But we haven't had too many questions, don't worry, in the chat.
Oh, okay. You're not I need to make you a moderator.
No worries. Because people are talking about what's selling well on Poshmark, and for me, the top seller is boots.
Yes.
So
what's interesting, I can show you really quick. What's interesting for me, because I think people were doing, people were doing lower average sale price items. And so I was kind of in that mindset. One of my top sellers is bags, and my bags are not cheap. Like, my bags are, average sale price is $61 and a 13% sell-through rate, which is one of the higher sell-through rates for this month, which is odd because I was thinking people weren't spending as much. But I sent out a bundle yesterday, and the lady bought like 3 Coach bags for like $60 a piece.
That is amazing.
I'll take it, but I don't know what. So let's get into liquidation. You're kind of saying, I think I'm going to try and split my time as best I can between trying to manage the reselling business and continue to keep the brand building. But if you guys are watching and it slows down, you know why, because I'm teaching my children. But liquidation. So have you done, oh, we lost you.
Go back.
I haven't pulled the trigger on liquidation yet. So if you have any tips before, I've bought off of 2 friends' pallets. So I had an idea of like what it would look like and how things are selling before I pulled the trigger on purchasing making a big purchase. But if there's any tips that you have on things to look out for, or anything that you have on liquidation.
I would say I have really low expectations. I'm hoping for only $5 profit an item, which is, I haven't found a way to consistently get high profit items in liquidation. Yeah. It's either manually look for items one by one. Today I posted a video of 5 pairs of sneakers I bought on Poshmark to resell that were $20 to $50 profit. The thing is, I can't automate that. I have to manually look for those shoes and then buy them. Where liquidation is like click, shows up. But to give you an idea of the different models, in my hunting model, I'm looking for 50 badass $20 profit plus items a week. That's $1,000. In my liquidation model, I'm looking for 500 $5 profit items. So it's like, I think you as an influencer, maybe you can buy a pallet, and you take the items that you can list each week and then sell the rest to your audience.
Yeah, I've seen some people do that, but that's time consuming too, because then you have to like promote it and build the boxes. And then I'm like, well, I might as well just list it myself. Right. And then I'm always nervous because I haven't done any of them. Have you sold off? I'm always nervous people aren't going to be happy.
I hate it.
Yeah, right. And that's why. So unless I'm telling them exactly what they're getting, and then if I'm telling them exactly what they're getting, I might as well just list it.
So this is how how I'm going to approach it. I am going to just resell the pallet. I'm not going to break it up into lots. It's way too much work. I thought it was going to be easy to do that. It's not.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yes. And that's where, so I bought a pallet from a friend, but I split it with another friend. So I bought kind of half a pallet to kind of see how it was going, and it moved, but it definitely, you're looking at $10 to $15 profit, which is, I guess, is better than the $5 profit that you were saying. It's moving, but it gave me stuff to list, and that's absolutely what I'm doing, things to list, and I'm not making these huge sales on. And then if I have time to go thrifting, that's where I can go get the higher average sale price items. But then the liquidation palette would just give me stuff to list. To keep the volume up. All right. Well, it seems like we have a plan. So my homework is, to time. Well, I already timed stuff. Do you want me to time again and see how it is?
I just want your reselling to not surpass 10 hours a week.
Yeah, it won't. In the coming months or coming weeks, it won't.
Because I want you to maintain the brand, and I want you to maintain your replenishables like your dashboard. You are the dream for so many young, not young, necessarily young, for so many stay-at-home parents. Old. You are the dream because you're doing it all. You have the kids. Hopefully your husband, Mr. Stiles, is still happy. You have that. You got the kids. Got a side hustle going that earns money, the reselling. Plus you're working on your brand. That's like amazing. It's you need to give yourself a pat on the back. I'm giving you a pat on the back because that's like a lot of stuff.
Well, and I will say, I'm going to give you a pat on the back really quick too, because I don't know if you can tell my demeanor from when we first started, but I'm far less stressed out. I am making, my revenue has gone up, and I'm spending more time with the family. I used to work almost every evening. We would have a free minute and I would come in and work, and then and I have completely started taking Sundays off. Most evenings, unless I'm doing YouTube, I'm taking time off. And so that, absolutely, that is thanks to you, because you convinced me to get a VA and just doing a lot of these process improvements. And it's also set me up, I think, really well for going into this time where I'm going to have less time. I think I can still manage to do some of it because I have such good process improvement. I would have never thought to source outside of a thrift store. It just never even crossed my mind. And so now I'm going to buy a pallet. I would have never have even thought to do that 6 months ago, before we started this whole thing. So pat on your back too for, if you guys don't follow Daily Refinement for sure, he has lots of great information as well. And you can buy tools from him, and he has your weekly or your daily call still, right? And all of that too. It definitely, I'm far less stressed than I used to be, and I'm making more money. So I think that's what is allowing me to do the brand as well, because I'm not putting so much time into reselling, even though I'm still making more money.
So I'm gonna give you one more challenge. So I think I wouldn't normally recommend this, so I'm not recommending this to people who are listening, but Sarah can do this. I would like you to get your resale business to the point where it's 0 hours a week. I know that's really aggressive. Okay.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, because I had this conversation in my head. I was like, I wonder what he's going to tell me. And I thought that you might say to find someone to take my pictures. And I've contemplated it. My only thing with that is I don't know that I feel comfortable in the environment right now of having someone come into my house because of everything that's going on and the kids at home and stuff. But I think maybe in the future that could be, I'm teaching my daughter. She'll probably be able to do it. And then, so it'll be her time spent, but not my time. She's already cleaning my shoes for me and doing it without any help. So hopefully she can do the pictures as well. But I think that, and maybe sourcing, but sourcing for fun, you've kind of gotten me on that kick. Like and that's why I'm looking at a palette, is having the inventory come to me. And then if I have free time, I can go out and source and enjoy the experience still, instead of, oh, I have to find 300 items to list, right?
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you. A pleasure as always. So I'm just going to try and figure out how to make this work. So we will touch base in August, and hopefully I have survived the remote learning for the kids.
Good luck, and feel free to text or email me anything. But I do want you to think about, I have, at least on my East Coast location, it runs, and I'm not in, it's in North Carolina. I'm in Oakland, right? I'm not there at all, and it runs. And it's kind of like if you want, I think what I want for you is more times with Mr. Styles and your kids, right? Ideally, right? I think that's kind of what we want.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Even if you're making a little bit less money and you have that time and that mental capacity, I feel like that's a win. So it might take a while to get there, but you have a supportive partner. You you're even doing a great job on, you talk about your networking, but you're doing a great job. You convinced me to spend time with you. So it's like awesome to do. And I'm so picky right now. Like, I'm just saying to people, like, look, I don't see a long-term, because ultimately this is what it comes down to. I reached out to an author that I really like. He told me out of every 10,000 people that reach out to him, he says yes to 3 people.
Jeez.
And I'm like, wow. And he's like, I don't have enough hours in the day. I'm getting like 10,000 emails a day.
Yeah.
And he likes to answer all of them. He was answering 7,800 emails a day for.
Yeah, that's his entire day.
That's his entire day. He wakes up, answers emails, and goes to sleep. He's like, I'm lucky that I'm independently wealthy and I can do this. But like, that's how, I love thinking about long term. And he says, so somebody asked him, how do you pick who to talk to if there's that many people talking to you? And he says, well, what I like to do is look at their email signature. So for example, do you have sarahstyles.com? Do you have the website? Okay.
sarahstylesllc.com. Yes.
Perfect. Is my website. So sarahstylesllc.com. He looks for that because he's like, I like to see people building their own brand is one. I like to see the email. Is your email Sarah at
sarahstylesllc at Outlook?
Perfect. So if that's the email and that's the person, that's number 1. He likes that. Number 2, he likes a cute tagline. So somebody has some kind of zinger in the signature. So I'm one of the people that he rejected doing business with. I'm one of the 99. He talked to me though, but he was explaining to me the zinger. And he's like, I want to look at the bio. So you send me an email asking to do business with me or whatever. I want to like your bio. You need to brag about how you've done well with somebody else before. And then you need to ask me one question. And if that one question's on point, like you've researched me or you know exactly what I need help with, and you ask an on-point question, this is the email that you'll get from me. What's your phone number?
And I feel like you do good at that, though. You didn't meet the cut, because I feel like you have a tagline. I mean, I don't know for the author's perspective, but what I know from you from YouTube, I mean, you have a tagline, and you're very big on like when you reach out to consigners and stuff. How do you convince them to work with you?
Yeah, no, I understand, but I'm just saying that I know why he didn't want to work with me, because I didn't ask I asked like 8 questions in the email that I sent to him, because I was like fangirling. I'm like, I can't believe he's responding to my email. And then I asked him a million questions. He just answered one question. And he was like, I like your questions, but I can only answer one. Thank you. Have a good day. And then now we've been talking for a while, but it's just because here's the thing. I was lazy. I didn't really get to know him so that I know what he's looking for. So, that's really the reason. But I do get it. It's just like, this is like trying to become a supplier for Gucci, like it takes some finesse to get in there to really be able to do that.
Well, and it's time consuming. And I appreciate you wanting to work with me. It does really mean a lot, because I do think that you have great content. And I truly am very humbled that you wanted to work with me, and you've done amazing things in the past couple months that we're working together. And this is going to be a little hiccup in the journey, but I'm in it for the long run too. So this will be a little blurb, and in 5 years, I'll be a gazillionaire. I won't be a gazillionaire, but I'll hopefully have some kind of income stream and have time.
Do you follow Brooke Castillo?
No.
She's a lady in Texas that teaches women to be gajillionaires, and she has a really good podcast about how to balance family and being okay that it might take a little bit longer. Because if you're a gazillionaire in 5 years versus 6 years, it's fine.
Right. I don't want to be a gazillionaire. I have no desire to be a gazillionaire, but I do want to be successful, I guess is what it is. It's more about, I mean, money is good too, but like more the ego that like I'm successful and I can do this. And that's kind of what I've been telling myself too, is like, I know that I've done this in the past couple months, and if it picks up again in the spring after my kids are, you know, happy and educated, then at least I have that job that I can like, you know, scale back and teach them.
Are you happy with 3
children?
Yeah.
Yes, we're done. I mean, it would be like a mirror. Like, we are done. The procedures have been done. We are done.
But you don't feel like, I mean, 3 is a good number, you think?
I mean, honestly, we stopped because I hate pregnancy.
Okay.
And it's awful. But like, I'm one of 6. And so I always imagined having a large family. I probably could be okay raising more children. We've thought about adopting and stuff too, but I had 2 pregnancies because my oldest is a stepchild, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this again. It's awful. So maybe your wife will have a different experience.
No,
Love it. I don't want to scare her.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, thank you guys for joining. As always, it's been a pleasure, Chris, and I will see you next week or next month. I'm sure we'll chat before then, but officially on YouTube, I will see you next month. If you guys are following me every Wednesday at 4:30 Mountain Standard, I do What Sold. So you can check me out next Wednesday, and I will tell you what sold from the previous week and go over my stats and everything. Make sure to hit that subscribe on your way out and give me a thumbs up. And I hope everyone